Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his ship, looking out at the stars. The ship was called Serenity's Dawn, and it was the biggest ship in the Galactic Federation fleet. Kethvar was an Altarian, a tall blue being with 4 arms and kind eyes. He had been keeping peace in this part of space for 20 years. The bridge was quiet and peaceful. Officers from different alien races worked at their stations. There was Neil Ara, a smart scientist with green skin and large eyes. Next, to her sat Quinn, a small furry creature who was very good with computers. They all worked together like a family. "Admiral," said Officer Vextall from his station, "our long-range sensors are picking up something strange." Kethvar walked over to look at the screen. A red dot was moving toward their space. It was still, very far away, but it was coming fast. "What is it?" asked the Admiral. "We don't know, sir. The ship's shape is not in our computer files. It looks different." Nilara turned around in her chair. "Sir, the ship has many weapons on it. More weapons than I have ever seen on one ship." Kethvar felt worried. In his 20 years of service, he had never seen a ship built just for fighting. The Federation had been at peace for 300 years. All their ships were made for exploring, trading, and helping people. Why would anyone need so many weapons? "Try to talk to them," he ordered. Officer Vextall pressed buttons on his control panel. "This is the Federation ship Serenity's Dawn. Please identify yourself and state your purpose." They waited. No answer came back. "Try again," said Kethvar. "Unknown." "Ship, this is Admiral Kethvar of the Galactic Federation. Please respond." Still nothing. Far away in space, Captain Jake Coleman sat in his captain's chair on the bridge of the Iron Wolf. Jake was a human, about 40 years old with short brown hair and tired eyes. He had been in space for 18 months looking for whoever had been sending radio signals toward Earth. "Captain," said his communications officer, "we're getting signals from that big ship ahead of us. They're trying to talk, but I can't understand their language." "Keep recording everything," Jake said. "Maybe Amy can figure it out later." Dr. Amy Foster was the ship's language expert. She was a smart woman with red hair who loved solving puzzles. Right now, she was working hard to understand the alien signals they had been hearing. "Sir," said Commander Steve Parker, the ship's weapons officer, "that ship is really big, much bigger than us, and there are more ships coming." Jake looked at his screens. 3 smaller ships were moving toward them. They looked friendly enough, but Jake had learned to be careful. Earth had taught all space captains to expect trouble. Humans had fought wars for thousands of years. They knew that space might be dangerous. "Bring us to yellow alert," Jake ordered. "But don't point weapons at them yet. Let's see what they want." Back on the Serenity's Dawn, Admiral Kethvar was getting more worried. The unknown ship was not answering their calls and was still coming toward Federation space. "Sir," said Nil Ara, "the ship's design is very strange. It has thick armor all around it. And those weapon systems? They look very powerful." "What kind of people build ships like that?" wondered Quinn from his station. Kethvar thought about this. Maybe these were pirates from the old days. Sometimes, criminals still used old warships from before the peace began. Or maybe this ship was from the time of the Destroyer Wars, when different races fought each other long ago. "Send ships to stop them," he decided. "Use the standard procedure. If they won't talk, we'll have to disable their ship and bring them in for questioning." 3 Federation patrol ships flew toward the Iron Wolf. They were sleek and beautiful, made for peace, not war. The captains of these ships had never fought a real battle. They thought they were just dealing with some lost pirates. Captain Jake Coleman watched the 3 ships approach his vessel. They were moving in an attack pattern surrounding him. On Earth, this would mean only one thing. "Captain," said Steve. "Parker, they're taking attack positions." "Are their weapons charged?" Jake asked. "I'm reading energy buildup, sir. They're getting ready to fire." Jake felt his heart beat faster. His ship was alone, far from Earth, facing 3 unknown alien vessels. His crew was counting on him to keep them safe. "Raise shields," he ordered. "Charge weapons, but don't lock on target yet. Send out our first contact message on all frequencies." Amy Foster had prepared a message in case they met aliens. It had pictures, math, and simple words that any smart species should understand. It said that humans came in peace but would defend themselves if attacked. The Federation ships received the message but couldn't understand it. Their computers didn't know human language or human math. To them, It just looked like noise. "The unknown ship is not responding to our disable commands," reported the lead Federation captain to Admiral Kethvar. "We're beginning containment procedures." The 3 Federation ships fired their containment beams. These were special energy weapons that were meant to stop a ship's engines without hurting anyone inside. The Federation had used them many times on pirates and broken ships. They always worked perfectly, but the Iron Wolf was not like other ships. When the energy beams hit the human vessel, alarms started ringing everywhere. "We're under attack!" shouted Steve Parker. "Multiple energy weapons hitting our shields!" "Shields holding," reported the engineering officer. "But if they keep firing, we're in trouble." Jake Coleman had to make a choice. He could try to run away, but the alien ships were faster. He could try to talk, but they weren't listening. His crew was in danger, and it was his job to protect them. "Return fire," he ordered. "Target their weapons and engines only. Don't kill anyone if we don't have to." The Iron Wolf was built by humans who understood war. Every system was designed to fight and survive. When the ship's weapons fired, they cut through the Federation shields like they were made of paper. The first Federation ship exploded immediately. The second ship lost all power and started floating helplessly in space. The third ship turned and ran as fast as it could. On the Serenity's dawn, Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as his ships were destroyed. The unknown vessel had weapons, more powerful than anything he had ever seen. "How is this possible?" he whispered. The war between humans and the Galactic Federation had begun, and nobody knew it yet. Admiral Kethvar stared at his screen in shock. In 30 seconds, the unknown ship had destroyed one of his vessels and disabled another. The third ship was racing back to him, badly damaged and full of scared crew members. "How many died?" he asked quietly. 43 souls on the first ship, sir," reported Nilara. Her green face was pale with fear. "The second ship has 30 injured, but everyone is alive." Kethvar closed his 4 eyes and felt sick. 43 people were dead. In 300 years of peace, the Federation had maybe lost 50 people to accidents in space. Now they had lost almost that many in 1 minute. "What kind of weapons can do this?" asked Quinn, his furry hands shaking as he worked at his computer. "I don't know," said Nilara. "Our shields have never failed like this. These weapons are something completely new." The Admiral looked at the unknown ship on his screen. It was, just sitting there now, not moving. Maybe the aliens inside were deciding what to do next. "Sir," said Officer Vextall, "we're getting a message from the Federation Council. They want to know what happened." Kethvar didn't want to make this call. How could he explain that they had met aliens who could destroy Federation ships so easily? How could he tell the Peaceful Council that war had come back to their galaxy? "Put them through," he said. The main screen changed to show the Federation Council chamber. 12 different alien races sat around a large table. In the center was Council Leader Varthak, a tall, thin being with silver skin and a wise face. "Admiral Kethvar," said Varthak, "we received your emergency signal. What is the situation?" "Council Leader, we have encountered an unknown species. They have destroyed one of our ships and damaged another. Their weapons are far more powerful than anything in our files." The council members started talking all at once. Some looked scared, others angry, and a few seemed confused. They had never dealt with anything like this before. Defense Coordinator Quillneck stood up. He was a Cerebrian, a species known for thinking very logically about problems. His big brain was visible through his clear skull, and it was glowing bright blue with worry. "Admiral," said Quillnex, "are you telling us that a single unknown ship destroyed a Federation patrol vessel?" "Yes, sir. In seconds." "And their technology is superior to ours?" "Much superior, sir, at least when it comes to weapons." The council chamber became very quiet. These leaders had spent their whole lives making peace, not war. They didn't know how to deal with an enemy who could destroy them. "Could this be first contact with a new species?" asked Varthak hopefully. "Possibly," said Kethvar. "But if it is, they're not like us. Their ship is built only for fighting. Everything about it says they expect war." On the Iron Wolf, Captain Jake Coleman was having his own meeting. His senior officers sat around the table in the ship's conference room. Everyone looked worried. "What's our situation, Steve?" Jake asked his weapons officer. Commander Steve Parker looked at his notes. "We're holding position. The big alien ship is about 2 million kilometers away. Not moving. I count at least 30 smaller ships around it, but they're keeping their distance. Any more attempts to contact us? No, sir. They've gone quiet since the fight. Dr. Amy Foster spoke up. Captain, I've been studying the radio signals we picked up before the battle. These aliens have been broadcasting openly for years. Music, science data, even what looked like peace treaties between different species. Peace treaties? Asked Jake. Yes, sir. And they're not encrypted or hidden? They're sending everything in. The clear. Like they don't have any enemies. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Ben Walsh shook his head. That doesn't make sense. Any species smart enough for space travel should know to be careful. Unless, said Amy slowly, they've never had to be careful. What if these aliens have never fought a war? The room became quiet. Jake thought about this idea. On Earth, humans fought wars for thousands of years. Every country had armies. Every leader expected trouble from their neighbors. But what if some species never learned to fight? That would explain their ships, said Steve. No real armor, weak. Shields, weapons that barely work. They built those ships for peace, not war. And we just attacked peaceful explorers, said Dr. Walsh sadly. Jake felt terrible. Earth had sent him to make peaceful contact with aliens. Instead, he had started a war with people who didn't even know how to fight. Sir, said the communications officer, we're getting a message from Earth Command. Put it through, said Jake, Admiral. Lisa Carter appeared on the screen. She was the head of Earth's Deep Space Fleet, a tough woman with gray hair and hard eyes. She had been a fighter pilot before she became an admiral. Captain Coleman, we received your report. You engaged 3 alien vessels? Yes, ma'am. They were trying to disable our ship with some kind of energy weapon. We had to defend ourselves. Understood. What's the alien response? They've pulled back for now. But Admiral, I think we made a big mistake. These aliens might be peaceful. Dr. Foster thinks they've never fought a war before. Admiral Carter was quiet for a moment. Captain, our job is to protect Earth and explore space safely. You did what you had to do, but if these aliens are peaceful, we need to fix this situation fast. What are your orders, ma'am? Try to make peaceful contact, but stay ready for battle. We don't know how many ships they have or how angry they are. Earth is sending help, but it will take months to reach you. Understood, Admiral. The screen went dark. Jake looked around the table at his officers. They were alone in alien space, surrounded by ships they had already fought, and they had to somehow make peace with people they had accidentally attacked. Back on the Serenity's Dawn, the Federation Council was making decisions. The meeting had gone on for hours, and the leaders were scared and confused. We have to assume this is a hostile species, said Quill Nex. Their ship is obviously built for war. They destroyed our vessel without warning. But maybe they were scared, argued Varthak. First contact is always difficult. There might have been a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding that killed 43 of our people, said another council member angrily. Admiral Kethavar listened to the arguments. He was a military officer, but he had spent 30 years keeping peace, not fighting wars. The Federation military was really just a police force that helped broken ships and stopped the occasional pirate. What do we know about their technology? Asked Varthak. Nilara had been studying the data from the battle. Their weapons use kinetic energy. They fire solid projectiles at very high speed. We've never seen anything like it. Their shields are different too, designed to stop physical impacts rather than energy weapons. Could we build weapons like theirs? Asked Quill Nex. Maybe, given time, but it would take years to design and build them. We've never needed weapons that powerful before. The Council made their decision. They would send a larger fleet to deal with the unknown ship. If the aliens wanted peace, they could surrender and be questioned. If they wanted war, the Federation would do its best to protect itself. Admiral Kethavar, said Varthak, you will command a fleet of 12 ships. Try to make peaceful contact, but be prepared to fight if necessary. Yes, Council Leader. As the meeting ended, Kethavar felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He was about to lead the biggest Federation fleet in 300 years against enemies who had already proven they could destroy his ships easily. On the Iron Wolf, Dr. Amy Foster was working hard to decode more alien messages. She had found something important. The aliens had been broadcasting the same message over and over. It seemed to be some kind of greeting or peace offering. Captain, she called Jake to her lab, I think I figured out part of their language. This message keeps repeating. It's mathematical at first, then it shows pictures. She put the translation on her screen. Look at this. It shows different alien species working together, building things, exploring space. And here, at the end, it shows them meeting new species and becoming friends. Jake studied the pictures. It's a welcome message. Yes, sir. They were trying to welcome us to their part of space. And we shot at them. Jake felt even worse. The aliens had been trying to be friendly, and his ship had responded with violence. How could he fix this mistake? Keep working on their language, Amy. If we're going to make peace, we need to be able to talk to them. As both sides prepared for what might come next, neither fully understood the other. The Federation saw humans as a dangerous new enemy. The humans saw the Federation as a potential threat that might attack Earth, but both sides had good people who wanted peace. The question was whether they could talk to each other before more blood was spilled in the darkness between the stars. Admiral HFY stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching 12 Federation ships move through space toward the unknown vessel. This was the largest war fleet the Federation had assembled in 300 years, yet he felt like he was leading. His people to their deaths. Distance to target? He asked. 50,000 kilometers and closing, reported his navigator. Any response to our messages? Nothing, sir. The alien ship is just waiting for us. HFY studied the enemy vessel on his screen. It looked like a metal predator floating in space, covered in weapons and armor. Everything about it screamed danger. How had his peaceful galaxy suddenly become a place where such ships existed? Sir, said Nilara from her science station, I'm detecting strange energy readings from the alien ship. Their power systems are much more advanced than ours. Can you tell what kind of weapons they have? Some kind of kinetic cannons, energy beams, and what look like explosive projectiles. Sir, one ship like that could probably destroy our entire fleet. The bridge became very quiet. Every officer heard what she said. They were flying toward their own deaths, and they all knew it. Then why are we here? Asked Quinn, his furry face showing fear. Because, said HFY slowly, someone has to protect our worlds. If these aliens want to conquer us, we have to try to stop them. On the Iron Wolf, Captain Jake Coleman watched the Federation fleet approach. His ship was alone against 12 alien vessels, but he wasn't as worried as he should have been. The earlier battle had shown him that Federation ships were not built for fighting. They're coming in a standard battle formation, reported Steve Parker. But it's not a very good one. They're too spread out and their biggest ship is in front, where we can hit it first. Maybe they don't know how to fight properly, suggested Dr. Walsh. That's what I'm afraid of, said Jake. If they're not real warriors, this is going to be a slaughter. Amy Foster looked up from her computer. Captain, I've been working on their language. I think I can send them a basic message. What kind of message? Something like, we want peace or stop fighting. It's not perfect, but they might understand it. Jake thought about this. If he sent a peace message and the aliens ignored it, they might think humans were weak. But if he didn't try, more people would die in a few minutes. Send it, he decided. Amy broadcast her message toward the Federation fleet. It was simple pictures and math that showed humans and aliens working together instead of fighting. On the Serenity's dawn, Officer Vextal detected the incoming message. Admiral, we're receiving something from the alien ship. Put it on screen. The bridge crew watched as strange symbols and pictures appeared on their display. Some of it looked like math, but the rest was confusing. Can anyone understand this? Asked HFY. Nilara studied the message carefully. Sir, part of this looks like the universal math we use for first contact. And these pictures, they might be trying to say something about cooperation. Or it could be a trick, said Quinn. Maybe they're trying to make us relax before they attack. Admiral HFY had to make a choice. The unknown ship had already proven it could destroy Federation vessels easily. If the aliens wanted to attack, they could have done it already. Maybe they really did want to talk. All ships, this is Admiral HFY. Reduce speed and maintain formation, but do not charge. Weapons, we're going to try to communicate with them. Sir, protested his tactical officer, if they attack while our weapons are powered down, then we die, said HFY simply. But maybe we can avoid that. The Federation fleet slowed down, but they kept moving toward the human ship. On the Iron Wolf, Jake watched them approach. They're not charging weapons. reported Steve. "But they're still coming. Maybe they got our message," said Amy hopefully. "Or maybe they're planning something clever," said Steve. "Captain, recommend we go to battle stations." Jake was about to give the order when something unexpected happened. The Federation ships suddenly stopped moving and formed a circle around the Iron Wolf, but at a safe distance. It was like they were trying to surround the human ship without threatening it. "What are they doing?" asked Dr. Walsh. "I think," said Amy slowly, "they're trying to show us they want to talk, not fight." Admiral Kethvar had ordered his ships to form what the Federation called a discussion formation. It was something they used when meeting new species for the first time. The ships surrounded the other vessel to show they were paying attention, but stayed far enough away to show they weren't planning to attack. "Now what?" asked his communications officer. "We try to talk to them properly. Send the standard first contact package." The Federation sent their own message to the Iron Wolf. It had pictures of the 12 species in the Federation, showing how they had all become friends over the centuries. It had star maps showing Federation space and peaceful trade routes between worlds. Most importantly, it had pictures of the Federation Council making laws and keeping peace. When Amy Foster saw this message, she got excited. "Captain, this is it. This is exactly what we hope to find. A peaceful alliance of alien species. Look at this data. They've been at peace for 300 years. Jake studied the message on his screen. The pictures showed aliens of many different types working together, building cities and exploring space. It was everything Earth had dreamed of finding among the stars. "If they're so peaceful," asked Steve, "why did they attack us first?" "I don't think they were attacking," said Amy. "Look at these energy readings from their first ships. Those weren't weapons. They were some kind of restraining beams. They were trying to stop us, not destroy us." Jake felt sick to his stomach. "They were trying to arrest us and we killed them." "It was self-defense, sir," said Steve. "We had no way to know." "But now we do know," said Jake. "And we have to fix this." He called his senior officers to the bridge. When they were all assembled, he explained the situation. "People, we've made first contact with a peaceful alliance of 12 alien species. Due to a misunderstanding, we fired on them and killed over 40 aliens. Now we're surrounded by their fleet, and they're trying to decide if we're dangerous, invaders, or just confused newcomers." "What do we do, Captain?" asked Dr. Walsh. "We convince them we're not the enemy. Amy, can you send them a more detailed message?" "I think so, sir, but I need time to work on their language." "You've got it." "Steve, power down all weapons except point defense. I want them to see we're not planning to fight." "Sir, that's dangerous. If they attack, then we defend ourselves, but we're not going to start another fight." As Jake's crew worked to send peaceful messages, Admiral Kethvar was having problems of his own. Half his captains wanted to attack the alien ship before it could escape. The other half wanted to try talking until they understood what had happened. "Admiral," said Captain Zerkol of the cruiser Bright Hope, "that ship killed 43 of our people. We can't just ignore that." "And if we attack," replied Captain Moltar of the science vessel Star Seeker, "how many more will die? Their weapons are clearly superior to ours." "All the more reason to destroy them now," argued Captain Zerkol, "before they can call for reinforcements." Kethvar listened to his captains argue over the communication system. They were all good officers, but none of them had ever faced a situation like this. The Federation had protocols for dealing with pirates, broken ships, and natural disasters. They had no protocols for dealing with superior alien technology. "Sir," interrupted Nilara, "the alien ship is powering down its weapons." "What?" "Their energy signatures are dropping. They're turning off their offensive systems. This changed everything. If the aliens wanted to attack, why would they power down their weapons while surrounded by Federation ships?" "They're sending another message," reported Vextal. This time, the message was much more complex. Amy Foster had worked for hours to create pictures that told a story. The message showed humans living on a dangerous world where they had to fight to survive. It showed them building weapons to protect themselves from threats. Then it showed them traveling to space and meeting the Federation ships. The message tried to explain that humans had attacked because they thought they were being attacked first. It showed the human ship stopping its attack when it realized the Federation was peaceful. Finally, it asked for forgiveness and offered friendship. Admiral Kethvar watched the message 3 times before he understood it. These aliens, humans, according to their message, came from a world where war was normal. They had attacked because they expected to be attacked. When they realized their mistake, they had stopped fighting. Nilara, he said, could this be true? Could they have attacked us by accident? It's possible, sir. Their first response was defensive, not offensive, and they did stop shooting when our ships retreated. But 43 people are still dead, said Quinn sadly. Yes, agreed Cathvar. But if this was a mistake, killing more people won't bring them back. The Admiral made his decision. Send a message to the alien ship. Tell them we understand their message. Ask them to come aboard our ship so we can talk face to face. Sir, protested his tactical officer, what if it's a trap? Then I'll die trying to make peace instead of living with an endless war. On the Iron Wolf, Jake Coleman received the Federation message. They were inviting him to come aboard their ship for a meeting. It could be a trap, warned Steve Parker. Captain Jake Coleman stood in the shuttle bay of the Iron Wolf, wearing his dress uniform and trying not to look nervous. Beside him, Dr. Amy Foster checked her translation computer one more time, while Dr. Ben Walsh carried a medical kit in case any aliens needed help. Remember, Jake told his team, we're representing all of humanity here. These aliens think we're dangerous warriors. We need to show them we're people who want peace. The shuttle ride to the Federation flagship was short but tense. Jake looked out the window at the alien ship and felt amazed. The Serenity's dawn was beautiful, with smooth curves and bright lights. It looked like it was built for exploring and learning, not fighting. Look at that design, whispered Amy. Every line says, we come in peace. And our ship probably looks like a flying weapon to them, said Ben sadly. When their shuttle docked with the Federation ship, Jake felt his heart beating fast. The airlock opened, and he got his first look at real aliens. Admiral Cathvar was waiting for them in the docking bay. He was tall and blue, with 4 arms and kind eyes that showed both curiosity and sadness. Behind him stood other aliens, a green-skinned scientist, a small furry creature, and others Jake couldn't identify. Welcome aboard, said Cathvar in accented but clear English. I am Admiral Cathvar of the Galactic Federation. Jake was surprised they could speak his language. Thank you, Admiral. I'm Captain Jake Coleman of the United Earth ship Iron Wolf. This is Dr. Foster, our language specialist, and Dr. Walsh, our medical officer. Please follow me to our conference room. As they walked through the alien ship, Jake noticed how peaceful everything looked. The corridors were wide and bright, with artwork on the walls showing different alien species working together. Crew members they passed looked curious about the humans, but not afraid. The conference room was large and comfortable, with a table that could seat many different types of aliens. Cathvar introduced his officers, Nilara the scientist, Quinn, the computer expert, and others whose names Jake tried to remember. Before we begin, said Cathvar, I must ask about the crew members who were killed in our first encounter. Dr. Walsh, would you be willing to help us treat our wounded? Of course, said Ben immediately. That's why I came. Thank you. Nilara, we'll show you to our medical bay. After Ben left with the alien doctor, Jake found himself alone with Amy, facing Admiral Cathvar and his officers. The room became very quiet. Captain Coleman, said Cathvar slowly, we need to understand what happened. Your ship destroyed one of ours and damaged another. 43 of my people died. We must know if this was an act of war. Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Admiral, it was not an act of war. It was a terrible mistake. Explain. Jake took a deep breath. On Earth, we've been fighting wars for thousands of years. When we built ships to explore space, we made them strong enough to fight because we didn't know what we might find out here. When your ships tried to disable us, our computers thought we were under attack. So you attacked first because you were afraid? Asked Nilara. Yes, and I'm sorry. If we had known you were peaceful, we never would have fired. Amy opened her translation computer. Admiral, may I show you something? She put a recording on the table's display screen. It showed Earth's history, wars, battles, and conflicts going back thousands of years. Then it showed humans building spaceships and preparing for the dangers they expected to find among the stars. This is why our ship has so many weapons, explained Amy. On Earth, being ready for war keeps peace. If you're strong enough to defend yourself, enemies won't attack you. Quinn, the furry alien, looked confused. But what if there are no enemies? Then you don't know you're lucky until you meet them, said Jake, sadly. Admiral Kethvar studied the humans carefully. Dr. Foster, show me more about your world. Amy brought up pictures of Earth, cities, forests, oceans, and mountains. She showed the billions of humans living together, working, learning, and exploring. She showed human art, music, and literature. You're not monsters, said Nilara with surprise. You're just careful, very careful, agreed Jake. Maybe too careful. Tell me about your government, said Kethvar. Who leads your people? Jake explained Earth's different countries and how they work together on space exploration. He told them about the United Nations and how humans were slowly learning to solve problems with words instead of weapons. So you're becoming peaceful, like us, said Quinn hopefully. We're trying, said Amy. But it takes time to change thousands of years of thinking. Admiral Kethvar was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Captain, I believe you're telling the truth, but we have a serious problem. My people are scared. Some want to attack your ship before you can call for help from Earth. Others want to run away and hide. None of them understand that you might be peaceful. What can we do to prove we're not enemies? Asked Jake. I don't know. The Federation Council is meeting right now to decide what to do about your species. Some members think all humans are dangerous and should be kept away from our space. Amy leaned forward. Admiral, what if we shared our technology with you? What do you mean? Our weapons are powerful, but your science is more advanced in other ways. What if we taught each other? You could learn to defend yourselves, and we could learn to explore space more peacefully. Nilara looked interested. That's an unusual idea. The Federation has never shared military technology before. Because you've never needed it, said Jake. But space is big and dangerous. There might be other species out there who aren't as nice as either of us. You mean species that really are warlike? Asked Quinn. It's possible. Earth prepared for the worst and found friends. You prepared for friends and found, well, us. Maybe we can help each other be ready for whatever else is out there. At that moment, Dr. Walsh returned with Nilara's medical team. Captain, he reported. I've helped treat the wounded crew members. They're all going to be fine. Thank you, Doctor, said Admiral Kethvar. Your help means much to us. Admiral, said Amy suddenly, could I meet with your language experts? I think if we could talk to each other better, it would help both our peoples understand each other. Of course. But first I must contact the Federation Council. They need to hear what you've told me. The Admiral activated his communication system, and soon the humans were looking at the Federation Council chamber. 12 different alien species sat around a large table, all looking worried and confused. Council leader Varthak spoke first. Captain Coleman, we have heard Admiral Kethvar's report. You claim your attack on our ships was a mistake. Yes, Council leader. A terrible mistake that I deeply regret. But you are still a military species. Your ship is built for war. Our ship is built for survival, corrected Jake. We thought space might be dangerous, so we prepared for danger. We never imagined we'd find a peaceful civilization like yours. Defense Coordinator Quillnex leaned forward. Captain, your weapons destroyed our ships easily. How many ships does Earth have like yours? Jake hesitated. This was classified information, but maybe honesty was the only way to prevent a war. Earth has about 50 ships exploring different parts of space. All of them are armed, but none of them want to fight. We built them to explore and defend, not to conquer. 50 ships, whispered Quillnex, each one capable of destroying a Federation fleet. Only because you built your ships for peace, said Amy quickly. If you built ships for defense, you could match us easily. Your technology is more advanced than ours in many ways. Council leader Varthak looked thoughtful. Dr. Foster, what exactly are you proposing? A partnership, said Amy. Humans can teach you about defensive technology and military tactics. You can teach us about peaceful exploration and cooperation between species. Together, we can explore The galaxy safely. And if we refuse? Asked another council member. Jake thought carefully before answering. Then we'll leave this part of space and never come back. Earth doesn't want a war with people who should be our friends. But what about the 43 people who died? Asked Quinn sadly. Jake stood up and looked directly at the council. I can't bring them back, and I'll carry their deaths with me for the rest of my life. But I can make sure their sacrifice leads to friendship between our species instead of an endless war. How? Asked Varthok. Let me take some of your people back to Earth. Let them meet our leaders and see our world. Let them understand that humans are people, not monsters. And send some of our people to your worlds to learn about the Federation. An exchange program? Suggested Admiral Kethvar. Yes, let both our species learn about each other. I think if we really understand each other, we can be friends instead of enemies. The Federation Council talked among themselves for several minutes. The humans waited nervously, knowing that the decision made in the next few minutes could determine whether their species would join the galactic community or be forced to hide on the edge of known space. Finally, Council Leader Varthok spoke. Captain Coleman, the Federation will consider your proposal, but first, we need proof that humanity can be trusted. Are you willing to submit to a peaceful test? What kind of test? Asked Jake. Disable all weapons on your ship and allow a Federation crew to inspect it. Show us that you trust us enough to be defenseless in our space. 3 days later, Captain Jake Coleman stood on the observation deck of the Federation space station called Unity Point. Through the large windows, he could see his ship, the Iron Wolf, floating nearby with its weapons powered down and Federation inspection teams crawling all over it. Nervous? Asked Admiral Kethvar, who had become something like a friend over the past few days. Terrified, Jake admitted. If this goes wrong, I've left my crew defenseless. And if it goes right, you've started something that could change the galaxy. Dr. Amy Foster joined them at the window. She had been working non-stop with Federation language experts, and now she could speak basic Altarian, Zanari, and Cerebrian. Her translation programs were getting better every hour. The inspection teams are almost finished, she reported. And Jake, you should know, they're amazed by our technology. Not just the weapons, but everything. Our engines, our life support, our computers. They're calling it elegant survival engineering. What does that mean? Asked Jake. Admiral Kethvar answered. It means you built everything to work under the worst possible conditions. Our ships are comfortable and efficient, but yours are nearly indestructible. We've learned more about defensive design in 3 days than we learned in the past century. And we've learned about peaceful exploration, said Amy. Their star maps show safe routes between thousands of worlds. Their science databases contain centuries of cooperative research. They've solved problems by working together that we never even thought about. Jake watched a Federation shuttle dock with his ship. Have you heard anything from the Council? They're still debating, said Kethvar. Some members are convinced that humans can be trusted. Others worry that your military background makes you too dangerous to include in the Federation. What do you think? I think, said the Admiral slowly, that the galaxy is a dangerous place, and having friends who know how to defend themselves might be very useful. At that moment, Dr. Ben Walsh hurried onto the observation deck. He had been working in the Federation Medical Bay, sharing human medical knowledge and learning alien healing techniques. Jake, you need to see this, he said excitedly. The Federation medical computers have been analyzing human biology. They found something incredible. What? Humans are survivors, not just culturally, but genetically. Our bodies are designed to heal faster, adapt quicker, and endure more stress than any Federation species. We evolved on a world that was trying to kill us every day. Amy looked fascinated. That explains our military thinking. We prepare for war because our whole evolution prepared us for constant danger. But here's the amazing part, continued Ben. The Federation species evolved on safe worlds with stable climates and few predators. They developed intelligence and cooperation because they didn't need to fight for survival. They're naturally peaceful because peace was always the best strategy for them. So neither approach is wrong, realized Jake. We're just adapted for different environments. Exactly. And together, we're stronger than either of us alone. Admiral Kethvar received a message on his communication device. The Council has reached a decision. They want to speak with all of you. They hurried to the communication center, where the main screen showed the Federation Council chamber. All 12 species were present, and Council Leader Varthak looked tired but hopeful. "Captain Coleman," said Varthak, "our inspection teams have finished examining your ship. They report that while your weapons are indeed powerful, your ship shows clear evidence of defensive rather than offensive design. You built it to survive, not to conquer." "Yes, sir. That's correct. We have also studied the cultural data you provided about Earth. Your species is violent by our standards, but you are not evil. You fight to protect, not to destroy." Defense Coordinator Quillnex spoke next. "The mathematics are clear. If humanity wished to conquer Federation space, you could have done so already. Instead, you stopped fighting when you realized we were peaceful, you helped our wounded, and you submitted to our inspection voluntarily." "What is your decision?" asked Jake. "The Galactic Federation extends an invitation to humanity to join us as our 13th member species," announced Varthak, "but with special conditions." Jake felt his heart jump. "What conditions?" "Human ships will serve as the Federation's defense force," explained Quillnex. "You will patrol our borders and protect us from external threats. In return, we will share our peaceful technologies and welcome humans to all Federation worlds." "You want us to be your military?" asked Amy. "We want you to be our protectors," corrected Varthak. "The Federation has remained peaceful for 300 years, partly because we have been lucky. There are no hostile species in our part of the galaxy, but space is vast, and we may not always be so fortunate." Admiral Kethvar smiled. "Captain, your people would become the Federation's shield, while we help you learn to be explorers and diplomats instead of just warriors." Jake thought about this offer. Earth had sent him to make peaceful contact with aliens, and he had succeeded, beyond anyone's wildest dreams. But could humanity accept a role as protectors of peaceful species? "I need to contact Earth," he said. "This decision is too big for one ship captain to make." "Of course," said Varthak. "We will wait for your government's response." It took 6 hours for Jake's message to reach Earth and for a reply to come back. When Admiral Lisa Carter appeared on the screen, she looked amazed and pleased. "Captain Coleman, you've achieved something incredible. Earth accepts the Federation's offer, with our own conditions." "What conditions, Admiral?" "First, the Federation must help us establish peaceful colonies on suitable worlds. Earth is getting crowded and we need room to grow." "Agreed," said Varthak. "Immediately. We know of hundreds of worlds perfect for human settlement." "Second," continued Admiral Carter, "the Federation must help us upgrade our ships with their technology. If we're going to protect 12 species, we need the best equipment possible." "Also agreed," said Quillnex. "Our defensive technology, combined with your military knowledge, will create ships more powerful than anything either of us could build alone." "Finally," said Admiral Carter, "this partnership must be equal. Humans won't be servants or hired soldiers. We'll be full partners in exploration, trade, and government." "That was always our intention," said Varthak warmly. "Welcome to the Galactic Federation, humanity." 6 months later, Jake Coleman stood on the bridge of his new ship, the UES Peacekeeper. It was twice the size of the Iron Wolf and combined human weapons technology with Federation shields, engines, and life support systems. It was the most powerful ship in the galaxy, built to protect rather than conquer. "Captain," reported his new first officer, Lieutenant Sarah Davis, "the Federation supply convoy is ready to depart. Our escort mission to the Kepler colonies can begin whenever you're ready." "Any threats detected?" asked Commander Steve Parker, who had been promoted to Chief Tactical Officer. "All clear, sir. The pirates in this sector learned months ago not to mess with Federation convoys." Jake smiled. The human defense fleet had made Federation space much safer. Pirates and raiders who had once plagued the outer worlds now avoided any system with a human patrol ship. "Dr. Foster, any word from the new embassy on Earth?" Amy, now the Federation's chief human liaison, checked her reports. "The Altarian delegation is fascinated by human music. The Zanari scientists love our medical research, and the Cerebrian mathematicians want to study our military strategy algorithms. Oh, and the Kepler colony reports their first successful harvest using Federation agriculture technology." "And Dr. Walsh?" asked Jake. Still on Altaria Prime, teaching their doctors about human emergency medicine while learning their regenerative healing techniques, reported Amy. He says he'll be back in a few months with enough new knowledge to revolutionize medicine for both species. Jake looked out at the stars and thought about how much had changed. Humanity had gone from being alone in the universe to being part of a great alliance of peaceful species. Earth's children were now spread across dozens of worlds, learning and growing and exploring. The war that had almost started with a misunderstanding had become a friendship that was making the galaxy a better place. "Sir," said Lieutenant Davis, "incoming message from Admiral Kethavar aboard the Serenity's Dawn." "Put him through." The blue-skinned admiral appeared on the screen, looking as friendly as always. "Captain Coleman, I have news. Our deep space sensors have detected unknown ships entering Federation space from the Magellanic Clouds. The vessels are heavily armed and not responding to communications." Jake felt the familiar tingle of approaching danger, but this time it didn't scare him. This time he had allies. "How many ships?" he asked. "At least 20, possibly more. They'll reach the outer colonies in a week." "Then we'd better get out there and say hello," said Jake. "Tell the Federation fleet to form up with my task force. Let's show these newcomers that the galaxy has changed since they've been away." As the combined Human Federation fleet prepared to meet this new threat, Jake reflected on the lesson he had learned. Sometimes the universe sends you enemies, and sometimes it sends you friends who look like enemies. The trick is being wise enough to know the difference.